This is a totally off-the-cuff recording because I was working on some spokesperson videos, and one of them I was filming right here a second ago, and I was like, this is like, the lighting is beautiful right now. I just curled my hair so I looked good in all my videos, and I was like, you look cute, so let's pop on camera and see what's going on. So it's the beginning of summer, guys. This summer, I know I was just talking in my last video about the struggle bus that I've been on, and it's true, and I am still on the struggle bus, but we are taking baby steps to move forward and deal with some of the overwhelm that I was experiencing. So this is what's been going on since then. So since I filmed that video, that was a pretty low point for me. My day out to the town, to the bookstore, and the library did help. I felt so much better after that day, but you know, like, that's just a couple of hours. That didn't change my entire state of being. It didn't fix my nervous system, you know, like I still was dealing after that with a lot of overwhelm and freeze state and confusion about a lot of things. And so I tried to just sort of step back and take things really simply, one day at a time, and to focus on making sure that I was brain dumping everything every day that was popping up for me as a to-do. Because what happens for me is that if I don't get that out of my head, it builds and builds and builds, and I just end up having this huge, never-ending ticker tape of things that I have to do. Tasks and responsibilities and job things and things that I want to do and ideas, all of them are just swirling around in my head, and it becomes like a cacophony of noise, you know? And if you just allow that cacophony of noise and busyness in your head to keep building and building and building, that's, I think, what often gets us into this state of overwhelm, where we'd freeze, we end up in paralysis, and we can't do anything because it is so much, and it's too much to wade through. So for me, what has helped has been making a pretty daily practice out of having a brain dump session where I have a journal. I also have a Notion page for this, where I list every single thing in my head that I can even think of, no matter how small the task, that I want to or have to do. And then I brain dump any ideas that I have for things that I want to work on. And so from that point, I can start to sort and sift. And I can look at my priorities, and I can look at my values, and I can take everything that's coming out every day and like sort of like, you know, like in Harry Potter where they would take their thoughts out of the head and then keep them in a vial. Like my brain dump journal is my vial where I keep the thoughts. But once they're not all up there anymore, just like a big jumble, it does release some of that pressure for me, because then I can look at them and say, you know, priority wise, this is my priority today, and I can only pick one or two things. If I'm really like having a great day, feeling good, everything's going great, maybe I'll tack on a couple more things that aren't just priorities, but things that I want to do. And then I will say, okay, today, Jenny, you just need to do this one thing or these two things. And then anything else that we get done or that we have time to look into or to work on is like a bonus. And so that does help me. And I think I've said this on here before. I like to schedule out those tasks in advance by a week. So I'll look at my schedule for the week and I'll say, okay, on Monday, I think I can do these two things. On Tuesday, I think I can do these two things. These will be my goals. And I only give myself 1 to 2 things every day. But by the end of that week, if I focus every day, I check in on my list and I focus on just doing that 1 or 2 things that I have marked off for that day, then usually I am able to complete those tasks, which makes me feel better about myself, which allows me to cross things off of my to-do list. And slowly, bit by bit, I start to feel more accomplished and more calm and more in control of things. And I haven't done it by panicking and over scheduling myself in the day by giving myself 15 things that I'm going to try and do that day just because I know that I have to or want to do them. Because that's not fair to me. I can't do that much in a day sometimes. Some days I can. That's really what it's kind of like as a projector, as a multipotentialite, as someone with, I'm fairly certain, is undiagnosed ADHD. Depending on my level of dopamine for that day and what I have going on and where my hormones are at, where I am in my cycle, there's so many different things that affect the amount of energy that I have in a day. And so to start with, I don't have that much, right? Human design projectors, we are not doers. We're not machines. We're not the people who are supposed to be working and going all day. So we are the ideators, the guides, the people who take a step back from all of the doing and develop perspective on how everything is working in our world. We are the ones who take a step back and see patterns and systems, and we understand how things work and how they could be working better, how things could be connected, how new ways of doing things could be invented. And so we take a step back and we gather that perspective and that experience from our lives and what we've lived, and we turn that into guidance for others. And even though that doesn't sound like something that's very, like, energetically, that doesn't sound super energetically taxing, it is. It actually is mentally taxing. It's a lot of thinking and a lot of energy put towards trying to observe and understand things in the world and ideate and think of projects and things we could create and things we want to write and things and ideas that we want to try and implement in order to demonstrate to the world that we could be doing things differently, or that we could be doing things with a different perspective that might help people along the way. There's different perspectives that any projector can take. We're not all here to do the exact same things. So like how it manifests in your life is different depending on what type of person you are. Some projectors might be here to work on developing new technologies in the world. Some projectors might be here to show a better way of providing aid and outreach and assistance to others. There's just like, everyone is here for different reasons, man. But we don't have tons of energy, physical energy, to be out there doing things, because that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be sitting back, observing, gathering information and experiences, and then synthesizing them into something that we can share with the world that will hopefully move us in a better direction, no matter how it's manifested in the actual world. And so I try to remind myself of that. If I ever feel badly about having to spend an afternoon on my couch, on my computer, just writing or working on things and projects, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I try to remind myself I'm not supposed to be running a marathon. I am supposed to be working in these short little spurts of inspiration. And that works really well with the model of how you operate in the world with ADHD, because you don't have prolonged inspiration and energy every single day to work from sun up to sundown. You get inspired, you get hits of dopamine, you get excited, you get energy to focus on something, but only for a little while. And then it goes away, and you are left with pretty much no energy or motivation to do anything. And that can be a hard thing to deal with some days. There are days when I want to do so much and I just can't. And I'm working toward getting to a place where I can understand and appreciate that much better about myself, which I think is a really great part of this self-discovery journey, that we're on. And so that's kind of where I am right now. I've done some work on journaling out and doing exercises related to questions about ADHD and how it functions in your life and how it relates to me personally, so that I can be prepared when I do go in for assessment with that information. And then I have also been taking a step back from my home projects and just really being realistic about the pace at which I can work on them. And so it's okay. I'm not going to probably get my entire sunroom updated and finished this summer, even though I really wanted to have it finished this summer. I don't think that's going to happen, and that's okay. I have been in my gardens a lot, And gardening is one of these things where I got sort of hyper focused on it when I first got into a house where I could garden. And I was like, I want to be a gardener. And I got a bunch of the things and I studied and I got really excited about all the stuff and I started learning about gardening. And I wanted to build this garden and I wanted to have a beautiful garden. And I could see what I wanted in my mind. But it wasn't as easy to get that instant, gratification and that instant hit of dopamine that you get when you see the result of what you have been focused on. Because gardening takes time. It's not always an instant, wow, I just transplanted all of these flowers. My garden is done now. It's full. Especially where I am now, my real focus last summer was to do the landscaping to set up the structure of my garden. I planted a lot of perennials so that this summer I wouldn't have to do as much work. And I am reaping the benefits of that this summer because now I have tons of beautiful perennials that are blooming and I have done almost nothing. I planted a bunch of wildflowers as well. And I'm really excited about that because I'm getting some new wildflowers popping up and I didn't necessarily know what was what. So I had to keep looking and being like, what is that? I think that's a Cosmo. I think that's a cornflower, like to see what came up out of the wildflower seeds that I spread. And so now I am trying to get outside every single day to spend a little bit of time in the garden. And even though I'm not as hyper focused on the garden anymore, I am enjoying it and I am reminding myself to enjoy it. That's the fruits of my labor right there, We don't always have a fruit of our labor to appreciate when you are a multipotentialite or someone with ADHD who has gone through phases where you hyper focus on certain projects and you put a bunch of work into them. Because when we do hyper focus and we do get excited about something and we do get that dopamine hit, we can go full bore. Like there are times when I get excited about a new idea or project and I will work on it nonstop for an entire day, more than one day. Normally I would never have that much energy for this. I never would have that much energy in a day for something. But when I am hyper focused and I am on that mission, I can get that energy to work on it. But then, it leaves you. It goes away. It gets transferred to another idea or another hobby or another hyperfocus that is more exciting in the future. And so you kind of shift your focus to the next thing and the next shiny object in front of you, and the old one fades away. And there's times when you're left without a real tangible way of looking back on it and being like, well, look what I created, to get that satisfaction. I don't have that with all of the hobbies and things that I have collected over the years, but with gardening, at the moment I do, because I have 3 gardens at my house and 2 of them are full of flowers and they look really beautiful right now. And the 3rd one is vegetables, which I did have to put more work into this summer. And hopefully soon, cross my fingers, I will have a bunch of vegetables to show for it. So anyway, every day I have been trying to schedule and plan out in my planner or in Notion those tasks that I want to prioritize and focus on for the day. And I am not giving myself tons again. Remember, I'm just doing 1 or 2 so that I don't have more on my to-do list than I have energy to accomplish. And then I am scheduling myself low-key work time. I really like this. I believe this was, I'm not going to remember the name. There's a productivity influencer who talks about this in their ideal productivity schedule. There's a portion of time in the afternoon after they have had that first major rush of energy to work, to do deep work. They schedule themselves low-key work time. And so these are for things that it isn't as important. It is kind of whatever you have the energy to do, wherever your focus has landed. If you have loose strings you need to tie up that aren't as pressing, this is a great time to do this low-key work. You can do it on your couch, on your laptop. It's not your shut in your office, deep work, making sure I get this done type of thing. And so I've been enjoying giving myself that in the afternoons. And I have been, the last couple of days, I have been combining my MTFHR. I want to say those letters in the correct order. MTHFR. I am homozygous for that mutation, which is a problem with methylation of nutrients that you eat in your body. So I have a supplement that should be hopefully helping me with that. And that is something that I don't have a lot of research or information on, but it is generally something that's believed to maybe be tied to worsening ADHD symptoms. So I want to support that in myself. And then I also have a supplement called Elevate that I've started taking, and I take 2 of those every day. And Elevate is a formula. It's full of adaptogenic mushrooms and that type of thing. It's designed to help with brain fog, but it's also advertised to be super helpful for the ADHD brain. And so I've been taking 2 of the Elevates and 1 of my MTFHR supplements to help me in the afternoons. And I really feel like I have had a bit more energy and focus since I started doing that combination in order to make sure that I am getting some of this work in the afternoons done. So that combination has been helpful for me. And so that's really been it. I've been trying to get off my phone a little bit more. I've put a tracker on my phone so that I can limit the amount of time I am on certain apps every day. I downloaded an app called Finch, which my friend Mary recommended. And Finch is a great app for helping motivate you to just keep up with like simple tasks in your life. For an ADHDer, it is really helpful sometimes to just have a reminder to brush your teeth at night before you go to bed, to make your bed in the morning, to drink water in the day, to get outside of your house at least once. Sometimes these are things that I struggle with. And so Finch is an app that has been helping me with that. I check in with my little Finch every day, and you get to like dress him in cute little outfits as you do stuff and make points because you've actually kept up with your habits. And I've been trying to unplug a little bit earlier at night and give myself a little bit more downtime at night with an adrenal cocktail. I've been doing a tart cherry cocktail at night, not non-alcoholic, of course. And doing things like journaling and pulling some tarot cards and vibing to music and just giving myself a little bit of downtime so that my brain can unwind before going to bed, because I really struggle with sleep. Falling asleep is so difficult for me. My brain doesn't want to turn off. It's so annoying, but I sometimes take 1 to 2 hours to fall asleep after I go to bed. And so I'm just trying to keep up with healthier habits that will help support me in some of these more basic areas of my life. And at 42, almost 43, it feels weird to have to do this, but that's just where I am right now. And I just have to sort of face it and be honest about it. And, you know, when you're struggling, sometimes you just do have to go back to basics, and that's okay. I'm also very interested to talk to my the counselor about the correlation between perimenopause and increasing ADHD symptoms, because I've been seeing and reading some things about studies that link the the decrease in estrogen that women experience during perimenopause to worsening ADHD symptoms, because there is a connection between your estrogen levels and your dopamine levels. And so less estrogen means less dopamine, which would make a lot of sense in my case, and I think in the cases of many women who are around my age who are starting to realize that they are coping not as well as they used to with life and with all of the stress that comes along with it. And so that is maybe one of the reasons why there are so many women in their 30s and 40s and 50s being diagnosed with ADHD right now. And so that's definitely something that I'm going to have a conversation about when I am in the room. But yeah, anyway, just an update on some of the things that I've been doing to help support myself. And things are feeling pretty good right now. Things are looking up. I'm feeling good today. I listened to Abraham Hicks' Morning Rampage this morning when I got up and when I went out for my walk, my morning walk. And gosh, that just puts me in such a good mood. It just makes me feel so expansive. If you haven't listened to Abraham's Morning Rampage, I highly recommend it. If you are someone who is into law of attraction and manifestation and getting yourself into a higher vibrational state, no matter what you think of any of those things, mentally supporting myself and trying to remind myself to remain in a higher vibe state, not in like a false toxic positivity kind of a way, but just to keep reminding myself about all of the things I have to be grateful for, how magical the world around me is. These aren't things they're not lies. I'm not making them up. I have so much to be grateful for. The world around me is so magical. And sometimes I really get out of step with that. And when I take the time to remind myself and to actually appreciate it, it just feels better to be in this world. And so that's another thing that I would say to all of you, to give that a try. Go sit on a rock in the woods. Go sit at the base of a tree and just think about how amazing our world is and how lucky you are to be in it right now. Just those little things make a big difference. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling and get on with my night. I have some videos to edit on my couch while I relax. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will catch up with you again soon. I'm Jenny. Bye.